This is Peace with Penny, and I'm Penny ST, your host. This has been a sad week. Jerusalem hasn't been bombed like this since 2014 during the war when we were there on a family vacation that I wrote my book about, Blasted from Complacency, a journey from terror to transformation in Israel. Hamas has fired over 3,000 missiles into Israel, but 90% were stopped by Israel's military defense system, Iron Dome, before they had the possibility to land and hurt people. You also should factor in the fact that sirens go off and Israelis must run to bomb shelters. It's traumatizing, as I can attest to. I wish any death or a casualty from either side didn't happen, but what would the Israeli death and injury toll be if the Hamas missiles were allowed to land? As the conflict entered its second week, the Israeli strikes in Gaza were blamed for almost 200 Palestinian deaths, including 55 children and 33 women. More than 1,200 have been injured. The rockets launched from the Gaza Strip by Hamas's militants have killed 8 people in Israel, including a young boy and a soldier. It's always pointed out that Israelis suffer significantly less casualties and have more high-tech equipment and therefore are the bullies. It makes convenient press, but it's not an honest depiction of what's happening. They expect Israel not to retaliate after being attacked. Israel takes extraordinary steps to avoid Palestinian casualties, not expected of other nations, but unfortunately they still happen. Even when caused by Hamas, Israel can be blamed. In fact, at least 17 of the Palestinian deaths came from misfired Hamas rockets, but these statistics are reported as being blended into the deaths attributed to Israel. And before Israel lets their rockets destroy Hamas terror tunnels and buildings Hamas intentionally places amongst civilians as human shields, the Israeli Defense Forces text, call, and drop leaflets warning the inhabitants to leave because they're going to bomb a location in an hour. The civilians are told by Hamas to stay because their deaths make sympathetic press. There also have been Palestinian terrorist attacks with drive-by shootings, incendiary balloons, which have started many fires, causing significant damage, car rammings and stabbings. Hamas's former Minister of the Interior, Fadi Ahmad, said in a speech, "We want you to cut off the heads of the Jews with knives," as he instructs them where to put the knife and that it merely costs 5 shekels to buy one. Finally, the convergence of so many events didn't help with the potential to spark violence, with Ramadan ending, the potential evictions in Sheikh Jarrah, Jerusalem Day, the annual celebration of Israel's acquisition of Eastern Jerusalem during the 1967 Middle East War, Israel's May 14, 1948 Independence Day, and the commemoration of the Palestinian Nakba coinciding didn't foretell a peace-filled atmosphere. Well, enough talk of the ugliness. To let you know, Peace with Penny will be taking a break from live interviews to enjoy a brief hiatus. This was planned and not a reaction to the current conflict. When we return on June 8th at 11 a.m. Pacific time, we hope the violence will have stopped. We have an exciting roundup of people we will be interviewing, starting with the famous peacemakers, Rabbi Damelin and Layla Alshek of Parent Circle Family Forum. These peacemakers in this organization all have lost loved ones in the conflict and say enough is enough and work on peace. Their human hearts are formidable. During this break, I'll be playing some previous peace-filled interviews at our regular Tuesday 11 a.m. Pacific time period. The first tomorrow was Shaul Judelman, who was our first Peace with Penny interview at the end of January this year. He is a co-founder of Roots-Shorashim-Judur with Awwad and Rabbi Hanan Schlesinger, an incredible organization that I've grown to love over the years. Roots is located in the West Bank, what many people call occupied territory. Roots' members are made up of Israeli settlers who meet with Palestinians to forge a better, more cooperative life with their neighbors. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is part of their day-to-day life. The rest of the world thinks Israelis and Palestinians are enemies, and yet these peacemakers foster a grassroots movement of understanding, nonviolence, and transformation among Israelis and Palestinians. So, how did I get involved with wanting to work on peace? It was the summer of 2014, and for my son's bar mitzvah present, just like many Jewish parents, we wanted him to bond with the Holy Land. Oh, it worked perhaps too well. My husband had stayed back at the hotel, and our friends, my son and I, had just stopped in a pharmacy.
Run to the bomb shelter, sweetie. Please hurry. I didn't hear the sirens at first, but the Israelis did. They're used to hearing these things. We ran to the back of the storeroom. It was a 12-foot by 24-foot windowless bomb shelter. My heart's pounding. Boom! Boom! I hear it and feel the percussion of the exploding bombs. I'm trying not to get sick. I look at my 13-year-old son and I think I'll never forgive myself if something happens to him.
That's an excerpt from a speech I gave to the Orange County Jewish Bar Association. It was the first, but not the last time we had to run to a bomb shelter. Our adventure and my transformation is also the subject of my book, Blasted from Complacency, A Journey from Terror to Transformation in Israel. There is no chapter in a parenting book on what to do when a war starts and you're on a family vacation. Think touring extraordinary and sacred sites mixed with cowering in bomb shelters. I'm still trying to get over the Jewish guilt of taking my son to war for his bar mitzvah present. The impact of being human targets helped me understand the plight of Israelis living like this, and it also made me want to work on peace. How Israel is often described on the news is not what I'd seen with my own eyes. And I felt Palestinian parents also preferred their children playing safely in their backyards. The missiles exploded just near enough to blow apart my world as I knew it, forever changing me. And you'd never recognize my life today with what it was like then. I believe I found my life's purpose. I hope you can join me and Peace with Penny tomorrow, Tuesday, May 18th at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, and learn together with Shaul Judelman. You can get the Zoom link on my Facebook page or at the end of this clip. Please register. If you have a scheduling conflict, you can always see the recordings on my website at pennyst.com under podcasts. Especially during this latest time of violence, don't you want to hear about Israelis and Palestinians who work on peace? I know it brings me comfort. I hope you'll join us tomorrow on Peace with Penny at 11 a.m. Pacific Time. You can see the link at the end of this clip and on the pennyst.com website and the pennyst.com Facebook and Peace with Penny Facebook pages. Maybe our listeners will want to say some prayers tonight for both the Israelis and Palestinians to be safe and stop the useless loop of violence. I know I will be. Killing and maiming one another won't solve anything and only exacerbates the problems. If only both sides would just follow the golden rule and treat others as you would have them treat you. My prayer for everyone is that you may live in peace, shalom, and salam.